Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the a.lange Sohne Grand Lange 1. You can see this reference 117.028 and purchase it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full listing for this watch with additional accessories included, high resolution images, and naturally complete pricing details. On my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you're looking at the second generation Grand Lange 1. Now the first ran from 2003 to 2011. That was a 42mm watch. This one is 41. You can see on my wrist, 16 centimeters, it has a good proportion. Large, but not oversized. It's an imposing modern dress watch, but it doesn't step into the realm of the truly outsized or, shall we say, overblown. This is a watch that wears its size with elegance, and it's not excessively thick, and that's a big part of the reason why it doesn't appear ungainly. The watch is actually only 9mm thick, so it's nice and compact, and you can see that with a generously domed bezel shape, a dress cuff really can just ramp right up and over the flank of this case, even considering the pusher adjuster for the big date mechanism. Now from lug to lug, the watch again is large but not overbearing, 49.5mm from extremity to extremity. It has good stance across the wrist. It's definitely the one to go for if you're trying to choose between the original 38mm Lange 1 and a larger size. Definitely consider the Grand Lange 1 because it preserves the essential aesthetic, mechanical specification, and of course the proportions, but it's just a bit larger, and part of that is sensed in the greater mass on the wrist. Eyes closed, you do know you're wearing the Grand Lange. The white gold case with white gold buckle has a nice heft to it. It's what you expect from a precious metal high-end wristwatch. It does not disappoint. Now it's paired with a center spline, minimally bolstered, monotone stitch, black rectangular scale alligator leather strap. You can see the spline running between the two threads of the stitch. It does raise itself a little bit above the base of the strap, so it's thin, but it definitely has character lines and strong definition. The pin buckle is a Lange classic. If you've seen it before, then you understand how it works. That little retaining bar inside is there for smaller wrists like mine that may require the watch to be strapped down to one of the smallest holes. When a watch is really tight on the wrist, it can get stuck on the pin buckle, so to speak. That retaining bar inside the white gold Lange buckle is there specifically to make it an easy watch to take off a smaller wrist when it's buckled tight. And of course, traditional straight spring bars, you can simply pull the strap straight down around the tight curve of a smaller wrist. Now you'll note that the finishing of the case is exquisite. You can see alternating satin and polished finishes, and you can see the faceting of the lugs. They're incredibly handsome. They're full polish, but even so, the character lines on them are sharp enough to give strong definition. You can see the dial is a Lange classic. Now, partly inspired by ancestral Lange pocket watches. Everything's a little bit asymmetric, but there's an interesting school of thought that believes the juxtaposition of these individual elements is actually calculated as per golden ratio sections. Type in Lange 1 golden ratio on the internet, you'll get a little bit of a graphical representation of what I'm saying, but the bottom line is this is a studied asymmetry. It's something that's calculated and works well functionally and aesthetically. Now, of course, the watch is mildly loomed, so you can see it in low or low night conditions. The bottom line is that Lange does make its dress watch visible in the dark, so it does have a little measure of convenience in that respect that a purely conventional, purely traditional dress watch would not. Be noted, the Grand date is not legible in the dark. Now you'll note a couple of interesting features. There is a countersunk register for small seconds, as well as hours and minutes, and a white gold frame for the Grand date aperture at 1 o'clock, which is the signature of the Lange 1. You'll also note the annotation, Gang Reserve 72 Stunden, and that is because it is a 72-hour power reserve watch, and you can see the power reserve scale up-down at 3 o'clock. Now on the back, you can see the 3/4 plate covering the twin mainspring barrels that yield to that 3-day power reserve. Now this is the Lange caliber L095.1, so design work on this one began in 2009, and it was the first Grand Lange movement to be designed specifically to fit inside and fill the entire display case back of a Grand Lange reference. Now it's an incredible piece, 21,600 vibration per hour or 3 Hz beat rate, 3-day power reserve, twin mainspring barrels. It does feature hacking such that when you pull the crown, you do stop the balance, you stop the march of the seconds hand, you allow precise synchronization to a known accurate reference time, and it does feature a quick set using that unique pusher system, on the case flank. The watch is also beautifully hand finished, and it includes a lot of very distinctive Lange elements that are partly of glasuta watchmaking and partly solely of Lange's own modern tradition. Now, the company, of course, was reestablished post-communism in 1990, and it began to take the aesthetic of the pocket watch era and translate it into the wristwatch format. You can see the three-quarter bridge pocket watch style. You can see the jewels set in screw-fixed chaton or golden retainers, essentially. Historically, this would make it easier to remove the jewel without damaging the bridge. Today, it's done for aesthetic purposes, but they are functional chaton. You'll also notice how the bridge itself has a deep golden color, very different from the rhodium-coated brass of the Swiss watchmakers. This is what's known as German silver. It's actually an alloy of nickel, copper, and zinc, and believe it or not, it's what most guitar frets are made of, but it's chosen because it is exceptionally corrosion resistant. It is harder to work, however. You'll also note the engraved balance cock. Now, each balance cock in each Lange reference is engraved by hand. They have about 6 artisans who work on this, and each individual engraving is distinctive of the artisan who carved it. You'll also note black polished screws clamping the case, black polished escape wheel cock, and you also notice that the swan's neck regulator itself is also black polished. So you have a mixture of screws, both heat blued and high polish, and a mixture of finishes from high polish to the gorgeous linear glasuta stripes across the bridges and a tight and even perlage across the base plate. This is as good as high horology watchmaking gets, albeit with a strong German accent. This is a watch that's not afraid to be other than Swiss. You can see this current generation Grand Lange 1 on our website and purchase it there.